Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to this round of IFFI Table Talks. For, for this interaction, it's my pleasure to welcome the cast and crew of two international movies that were screened at IFFI 53. Representing the film Fortune from Tajikistan, we have director Muhyiddin Muzaffar, who is also the producer and has written the film's screenplay. He is accompanied by Mr. Konstantin, his interpreter, who's from Russia but been in India for around 7 years. Our next film is a co-production of Costa Rica and Qatar, the Spanish language film Domingo and the Mist, represented by producer and director Mr. Ariel Escalante Mesa. What I'll do is I'll read a brief synopsis of each film, followed by the trailer, and then we'll open the questions. First up, the Tajik movie Fortune takes us back to the early 1990s when Tajikistan was facing turbulent times at the eve of its independence due to inflation, food insufficiency, political turmoil. And it's a very humane narration of how sudden windfall gains test a very long-term friendship of Kahor and Manon. I was fortunate enough to watch Fortune yesterday, and for those of you who haven't, we have the trailer of Fortune. Can we have the trailer of Fortune? Moving to our next film, Spanish language film Domingo and the Mist portrays a widower Domingo who refuses to give up his piece of land despite intimidation from various quarters and his neighbors leaving successively one after the other. But there is a special and very mystical secret behind that piece of land, and that is what keeps people glued to the narrative of the film. Let's hear from the directors themselves about their experience of making the film. We'll begin with Mr. Muhyiddin Muzaffar from Tajikistan. His film was selected for screening at this year's Busan International Film Festival and is also competing for the ICFT UNESCO Gandhi Medal at IFFI 53. Mr. Muzaffar, please talk us through your experience of making Fortune.
Спасибо большое. Я очень рад, что для меня честь представить наш фильм в этом фестивале. Спасибо организаторам.
So first of all, I would like to say that for me it's a great honor to present our film at this festival, and thanks for invitation here.
Эта история, которую мы снимали, я очень долго мечтал, чтобы ее снимать, потому что это история моего деда, это история про моего детства, это история про того места, где я жил. Я очень долго мечтал, чтобы его снимал.
So that was my long time dream to be able to make this movie, because this is a story of my childhood, this is a story of my grandfather. So I've been trying to make this film for a really long time, and I'm really happy that it finally happened.
Мне кажется, что в 90-х годах, в то время, когда очень жизнь трудно была у нас, но были очень высокие духовности в наших дедах, в наших людях. Я думаю, что сегодняшний день, который у нас все есть, не то богатство, которое тогда было. Раз, как в трудные годы люди всегда хотели оставаться людьми перед тем трудностями, которые у них были.
So for me it was interesting because in comparison to what we have right now, 90s were very tough times, and even in the face of those hardships that our grandfathers were facing, they were remaining very humane, they were remaining very spiritual, and right now I would say when we have everything, those kind of things sort of get lost, so that's why I believe it was important to compare those times.
Это как раз такие годы, которые люди не смогли как жить, как хотели, как их внутренний мир показывали. Они из-за трудностей совсем наоборот жили. Они хотели правильно жить, но обстоятельства их заставили, чтобы они воровали. Обстоятельства заставили их, чтобы они не так жили, как хотели. И поэтому наши дети, мне кажется, очень хотели, чтобы их будущее, их дети, их внуки вот это трудности никогда больше не видели. И они столько смогли вот это дали нам.
So I would say that people back then, they were not able to live in harmony with their inner selves because of the circumstances and the hardships that were around them. They had to do such activities like robbery and all that were not in what they are really inside, but they had to do it because of the circumstances. And I think for them, for our grandfathers, it was very important to make sure that their children, us, we will not be facing the same issue.
Ну, для того, чтобы снимать данную картину, нам пришлось работать 2 года. И команда, которая это фильм снимала, они очень дорогие. Я 30 лет моим оператором, 30 лет. То есть это фильм снято в молодом студии. И это первый наш впередный шаг в мир кино.
So, and we've been working for 2 years to make this film, and our team was quite young. For example, I'm 35, and our DOP was 30. So, and it was the first of our production company, and you might say it was our first step into the world of big cinema.
Поэтому нам было бы интересно ваши мысли, если вы смотрели. И ваши мысли для нас очень важны, потому что нам важно очень ваши отзывы, участвовать в таких фестивалях. И через эти отзывы ваши мы хотим развиваться, и мы хотим в нашем молодом государстве найти поддержку, что мы снимаем функции на хороший фильм. И хотим показать нашу культуру всем людям.
And that's why for us it's very valuable to feeling lucky and if we had a chance to see the film because we want to develop further, we would like to hear it from you specifically to understand how we can make it better because we are a young company and our state is also young and we want to promote our culture, to promote our traditions and to develop further European would be extremely valuable and that's why such festivals are important for this exchange to help us to go further. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Muzaffar. It's indeed a very beautiful film. I've seen it, and I urge all of you to go and watch it. Moving on to you, Mr. Ariel Escalante Mesa. Your film Domingo and the Mist was selected for screening at this year's Cannes Film Festival and Toronto International Film Festival, and it's also lined up at the Panama and Havana Film Festivals, and that's how the year ends for him. It's Mr. Mesa also tells me that it is Costa Rica's official entry to the Oscars next year for the 95th Academy Awards, and his first film, The Sound of Things, was also Costa Rica's official entry to the Oscars. We have one director with 2 films back to back being sent to the Oscars. Please talk us through your journey of making Domingo and the Mist.
Well, first of all, really happy to be here. Thank you so much to IFFI Goa for inviting me. It's really important to me to come, all the way here to show a film. I don't know if you have, had the chance to watch Costa Rican films before. I think we have a very burgeoning but still, small history at filmmaking, and I feel very proud and very happy to be a part of it. Domingo and the Mist grew or was born out of a necessity to discuss stuff about my country. I don't know if you are acquainted with Costa Rica. It's a very small country of 5 million inhabitants, which has a tradition of democracy and it's a very stable country. Nonetheless, I do feel that Costa Rica is not in a proper dialogue with itself and with the world, and I think it was important for me to make a film which was very politically incendiary, sort of speaking. You know, I really wanted to discuss structural violence in Costa Rica. I wanted to discuss land conflicts. I wanted to discuss the ghost of progress, you know, and what it does to people, no, to people in the countrysides. And I feel that for me it's very important to, you know, openly discuss our issues in order to transform our reality, right? So it was really important to me to discuss, you know, this thing about violence, but I wanted to also make a film that was spiritual in a way, right? So the film is it's a film about ghosts. It's a film about, you know, Latin Americans' relationship with our dead, which is like a very open and very loving relationship we have with our departed, sort of speaking. We just have a big tradition like in Mexico with Dia de Muertos, and all over our continent, right? So I wanted to mix these two things. I wanted to make a film that wasn't that was very punky in a way. You know, I wasn't interested in looking for harmony in the narrative elements. I was looking for conflict. You know, I was looking to make stuff clash that wasn't like all natural, you know. And I feel that that's why we made this film like with 7-person crew. We made this film. We moved to a community in the mountains which is called Cascajal de Coronado. The film is starred by non-professional actors, and well, if you see the trailer, it has a lot of BFX, because as I told you, it's a film about ghosts, and all the BFX we decided to do them practical on set, you know, instead of using, you know, green screens or hard CGI BFX, because we wanted to be very true to this punk spirit, right? To this like politically incendiary film spirit. And well, at the end of the day, I feel that we got, you know, a particular artisanal film that I'm really happy to have the opportunity to share with you here in Goa.
Thank you, Mr. Ariel. The floor is now open to questions. If anyone of you has any questions for the directors.
Yeah, very good evening to all. I just got in to watch a film. I knew that it was Kazakhstan film. I thought first it was learning film, practicing the costume, the language. Then most of it was to speak Kazakhstan. The language which we spoke here, the language which we heard the dialogue, a lot of difference. The language we speak now is a language the president speak, or the language which they was speak, or the current 21st century is Indian Sanskrit. If you know that you can understand. But very painful in the 1990s. And with the story, the reflection of Goa that we did. When I saw it was the very first time. I liked it. And you were a grand king in that film. So it belongs to you. I liked it. But if I will ask you, so when you say coming from either Ivory Coast or Costa Rica or then let's see participation. Maybe co-production will get the name of Costa Rica or West.
Спасибо, что посмотрели наш фильм. Мне это очень приятно.
Thank you for watching our film. I'm really glad to hear it.
Что язык, который я сейчас говорю, это русский, потому что у меня переводчик русский. А вы видели фильм на таджикском языке, поэтому
You rightly mentioned that the languages are different, because right now we're speaking Russian because my interpreter speaks Russian. But in the film it is a Tajik language.
да. Спасибо большое, если есть какие-то отзывы, писать, которые нам интересны.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of film festivals, right? We're here at a press conference of two films from two very different parts of the world, and I feel that film festivals are for discussion and are also for uniting cultures, and that's why we need them. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really happy that you say that.